It's episode 65 of the Rated RR podcast. Rish Roshan Rai with you, along with Ziaul Raushan. I know it's been a while since our last episode. Raushan, how have you been doing?
I've been very, very well, Rosh. Just eagerly awaiting the start of the Singapore Premier League season. But at least there are other Singaporeans giving us plenty to talk about. One such person we have.
Yeah, we do, and I am looking forward to that season as well. That's coming up very soon, and I'm sure Aidil Sharin, the guest that we have here, is going to be keeping an eye on proceedings as they go on. But he's got a bigger job at hand. He's got his own things to worry about over in Indonesia with Persikabo 1973. Aidil, thanks for taking the time to join us on the show. How are you settling into life in Bogor so far?
Hi guys, thank you for having me here. So far I'm been very good. 3 weeks I'm here already, and everything is doing very well, settling well because the atmosphere here, the food, the places here, nothing new for me. So it's been well, and I adapted very fast and been good here so far.
Very, very quickly, you mentioned the food. It's always important to me, right? The food. And I even remember the last time we spoke to you when you were still in Kedah, you spoke about the nasi lemak. It was like 150 ringgit or something like that. How does it compare where you are? What kind of food do you recommend?
Oh, here there's a lot of they call it pecel lele, pecel lele and chicken, ayam penyet, something like that here. Yeah, and it's so cheap because everywhere they are selling it. Yeah, and you still can get around $2 Singapore.
Oh wow. All right, Coach Aidil, now that we've got the important stuff of ayam penyet out of the way, let's move on to the football. And the first thing we need to ask you is this move to Persikabo 1973. How did it come about? How did they reach out to you, and what pulled you there?
Yeah, in the beginning I was in a holiday, I was in Switzerland, holiday December with my family, and I got a few messages from few agents here. Then some teams, they say that, in the mid-season they want to change some coaches there. So I say, okay, but nothing concrete. And suddenly when I was in Dubai, before I flying back to Singapore, I received a call directly from the owner of the Persikabo. Yeah, wow. And they told me, can you come because we are not doing well. We are in the mid-table, and the boys are not motivated. So, we look at your record in Kedah and Singapore. So we need something new and fresh and younger coach. Yeah, so it's not really a big offer compared to what I get in Kedah, but I think for me it's a good step and it's a good challenge because. Another new country, new culture, and everyone knows how Indonesia football like. The atmosphere is crazy and is so fanatic, So definitely you can't buy this experience, right? So definitely with the offer, I still consider actually because I do a lot of research. What kind of team they are, what kind of background they have, and what kind of players also they have, and what kind of philosophy they play in their football too. So. After I spoke with my few friends here in Indonesia, especially my good friend Kurniawan, I think a lot of people know him, the top legend striker in Indonesia. So he told me, yeah, this is a good club, very stable, salary on time, a lot of young players because they are army team in Indonesia. And they have like 18 players who are full-time army. So they are really, really disciplined team in Indonesia. So I took it, and I think straight away they offer me a letter offer the next day.
Aidil, you mentioned they are full-time army, but it's not like in Singapore where the players have to do their NS, go and do duty, then come and train, right? They are full-time army, but are they exclusively they play football only?
What I heard is beginning they have to just go through 2 weeks. Yeah, to the army to serve and to be to get their ID, their tentera army. So after 2 weeks, they're free to play football with the football team. Yeah, because there's also some officers, major also in the team, in the official team. So, but the interesting part is the 18 of them, they are staying in one bungalow. They call it a mess. Yeah, and they have a own chef, own maid, cleaners, the one who wash their jersey and clothing every day. So it's very interesting. They eat together, they go to training together and come back together. So it's a very, very bonding family team for them. Yeah.
Oh, that's very fascinating to know. I didn't know that coming into this conversation. We do have other questions, but just very quickly, what you spoke about there, Coach. You mentioned them staying together and all. Yeah, you talk about their bonding, right? How much of an impact does that have for the playing style and the camaraderie together?
Yeah, of course, when they stay together in one house, example, like one room, they have 4 players in the room, the bonding is more stronger. When dinner time together, they have to, the Indonesia, they have to, like, even before dinner, they have to, like, make a baris, baris to respect, and they have to pray before that, so they have to respect the senior too, with the officer too. So, I mean, this is the thing that some of the young ones, they don't dare to play any punks, and they really listen, respect, the officers and the senior players. So that really helps me also in the field, because I don't see in 3 weeks, I don't see any negative players that really making trouble or coming late, or even they don't do well, or even they lose, they cry after the game. So this is the thing that very, very positive about this club.
You mentioned, Aidil, that you did your research on the club and you spoke to people around it, and I'm assuming, did you get a chance to perhaps watch some of the matches and see what their style of play was, and try and identify where you could come in and change things for them before you sort of took the job?
Yeah, I do a lot of looking at the instead. Instead, they look at the statistic of the team, how many goals they score and considered, and how their style of play, and how many possession percentage of every game that they play. So that is really, after I look at it, I'm keen, because although it's not top 5 team, but in Indonesia, it's crazy. It's a bottom team can beat the top team anytime. Yeah, it's just about you want to come into a club that you really can work freely. That's important, because the management don't disturb you. They don't interfere. I think that's the most important for a coach, to work and enjoy it. And I do a lot of research, like how's their coaching staff, because the coaching staff is still an old coaching staff. And it's not easy to step in a new culture and to get in with the old mindset and old mentality of coaching staff. So, but I still respect them. Of course, there's still a lot of things to improve, but they still adapt well with what I want, and I can adapt also what they like and they don't like in this football club. So I think so far it's been good. Yeah.
It's interesting to know. Coach, you mentioned speaking to various different people before taking up the job, and you mentioned certain people there. We are keen to know, did you speak to your good friend and I guess idol Robert Alberts before you took up the job?
I mean, Robert Albert, yes, I did tell him, I got an offer, because I think he's one of my mentor, and he's been in Indonesia football for a long time. It's just unfortunate, when I come in, he's out from Persikabo. So, I mean, he did spoke something about the team, and he told me and advised me, take the challenge. Yeah, although it's not the best team in the league, but take the challenge and you will grow and you become matured if you come here, because here is not the best organization, honestly, in football, but if you can go through with Indonesia football, you can go through any of the football in any around the world. So I think it's a good advice, and also I think I only talk to those who really I trust. Yeah. So the most I spoke to my good friend Kurniawan, I say. So he knows a lot of Indonesia football, and he's also the football federation in Indonesia. So definitely he knows a lot of in and out. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the feedback, and I took a lot of positive from there, and I believe I think I make the right choice.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is you spoke previously the last time we had a chat with you when you were at Kedah. You spoke about how much you learned from your time there. And you did well at Kedah. You know, you did well at Home United. You did well at Kedah, and you brought success to the club. And you know, now that you've moved on, what were some of the things that you've learned from your spell in charge of Kedah, and how do you think it's going to help you, you know, with Indonesian football and with your club in particular?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I learned. Yeah, because you know, in football, sometimes you must communicate a lot with your president or owner. You know, what do they really want? Because if they wants to build up young players, you know, they don't get result straight away, and that has to be open up to the fans, because it's very important, because fans doesn't know anything about our discussion behind. And fans, you know, here they pay, they only want to watch and they want to win. So this is the thing that I learned. When if you take a team, you need to be open up with the owner and the president. You know, if you want to develop a team, okay, let's target a few years. Yeah, like what Arsenal did. You see, Arteta don't do well in beginning. They lose a lot of games with new set of players, right? Young players. So this is the thing that, you know, when I was in Kedah last season, they spoke about, you know, budget. They spoke about money decrease, and they want to groom a lot of young players. So this is the thing that I learned, but they don't speak to the fans, you see. And when we are playing the AFC, we play a lot with average of 21, 22 years old last season in Kedah. Yeah. But the fans doesn't know anything. Right? But we still go to semi-final with a very budget squad. And it's not easy, you know, with a lot of financial problem in the club in Kedah. So when I come here, you know, I spoke to the owner directly. What is their target? What is their terms? And what is their plan? And so when they say that, okay, they want to groom a lot of young players, okay, I told them, let me take the short-term contract, and I want to see first. You know, so this is the thing that we have to be careful in dealing things, because end of the day, everyone will look at the coach when the result is not there.
Yeah, so you mentioned short-term contract, right? And you're only there for, what is it, about 5 months or so? Correct me if I'm mistaken, Aidil. So what kind of ambitions do you have?
Yeah, for me, you know, I want to target, because last season, if I'm not mistaken, the highest, you know, this club, since they entered the Indonesian League first division, the highest is number 11 or 12. Yeah, so my target is to be below than that, you know, and I try to get personal target to be number 7 at least. Yeah, because the points, you know, it's already mid-season, and it's not the players that I choose. Is it? And when you step in when the team is not doing well. Yeah, so the target now is every game, you know, to get result and try to get maximum point and try to be better than last season or last 2 seasons. That's most important for me.
Coach, you mentioned the 7th place target, and then we talked about being on this 5-month contract. I'm actually keen to find out, apart from just finishing 7th, right? As a coach, in terms of staying long term, what else are you looking for in terms of your relationships or, you know, the support? What are your markers?
Yes, because, you know, because there's good and bad to take a short-term contract. Yeah, because the short-term is honestly is because the league finished at May, so that's one of the reasons why it's short contract. And I took the short contract. Another thing is to be positive. You might never know, when you do well, bigger clubs are waiting for you, are eyeing you. Yeah, so this is the positive things that I took. So, and what I find out a lot from here, you know, if you do well, very fast, because a lot of agents in Indonesia, and the owners are very close with all the agents here. So with the record that what I have, I'm trying to do my best, and hopefully, if the clubs, Persikabo really happy with my performance, and if we can go for a really long term, then I will accept it. If not, we have to look for a better club that really wants to have a good success in short term, and they have to spend money. Same like in Persib Bandung, Bali, they spend, or even Persija. You can look. They have a coach, Thomas Dole, who are Bundesliga coach, and the players also coming from Bundesliga. So even Thomas Dole's salary, only one salary, he already paid for my whole players.
And they just, Persija, by the way, just recently brought in Witan Sulaiman, huh?
Yes. They're spending a lot now. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned that, and we look at this, and it's a short-term thing, but you've got long-term ambitions as well. And I imagine for a coach, you have a particular style of play that you want to see, and you had that time to implement that when you were at Home United, when you were at Kedah, you had that time to sort of implement it in a sense. So how are you going to go about that now? Like, what's the most important thing here? Do you sort of say, forget my playing style, I'm just going to use the strengths of the players available, and then we need to get results immediately? Is that your approach now?
My approach now is still the same. I'm still, we balance it. Yeah, we balance it. The most important is the playing style is still there. And in 3 weeks, I can see, honestly, the players, they getting the football what I want, and they are really doing well, even though we lost to Persija last game, 1-0. It's not easy to play against a big team like Persija with 45,000 fans out there. Yeah, but we only lost by penalty, one mistake. Yeah, but even after the game, Thomas Dole come to me, the coach from Persija, talked to me, you guys did very, very well. And I can see the difference between the first round and now, when you took the team. So very pleased and very positive also. And the players, honestly, they are very, like I say, they are disciplined, very cooperative, and they really wants to learn. And a lot of young players here too. I only have one over 30 years old, the senior players, and the rest is all average 23 to 26. So they are adapting well, and now believe that, last time Indonesia is just direct football, run and try to cross and get for target man. But now, we have a good pitch, good stadium, good atmosphere. Why we don't play good football? Yeah, and people wants to come and enjoy the football. So this is the most important for me to make the team and the club, to better level.
Coach, you mentioned there in terms of playing good football, we've seen your successes at Kedah, at Home United also previously. And this brings me to the question submitted by our listener, Aidil _Muhammad. He wants to know, how do you prioritize or find balance between the team's playing style, getting results, as well as overall development, growing them as individual players? How do you find the balance? What's the ideal secret?
Yes, it's not easy, especially with a very short time that I came. And, with the mid-season especially, if you have pre-season, it's easy for a coach to slowly, because you have time. You have 7 to 8 weeks pre-season to develop and to educate these players, right? But now in limited time, I have to do a lot of communication with the players, one by one. Even after training, I have to go to the mess. I told you where they stay. I have to speak to them. Sometimes I have to go and sit down to have lunch or dinner with them too. Because here we only train in the morning, because in the afternoon, every day is raining. So they don't train in the afternoon. The city, they call it Rain City here. So, we only train in the morning. So I do a lot of communication, and I have to do that, because if you don't, and the players, young players, the generation is different now. They need to educate, they need to speak a lot, and they need to be pampered, So this is the thing, that if you want them to trust you and to be on your side, you have to communicate a lot and be positive and always encourage this player, even though they make mistakes.
Yeah, it's interesting. The styles of coaching now are very different, and on that man management aspect, right? I want to thank you for giving us that insight into your time in Persikabo so far. I mean, you've not been there for long, but yet it seems like you've got a great depth of knowledge and understanding of what culturally it's like and what you need to be successful there. I just want to have a quick chat, a quick note on Indonesia at the international level in terms of how they've been doing. It's quite a talented young side, and I personally, for me, I've been really impressed, and I'm a big fan of what they're doing. But how do you think they are coming along, and what do you think they can achieve?
I think, first they got the right coach to coach the players with a good mindset, a good mentality. First that he come in, he look at the league first, what is the strength and what's the weakness, and when he look, the game, what I heard from the FA, my friend was there, he look at the percentage or the intensity of the game, and the intensity, in the game with a lot of senior players out there, the intensity is not high. So he changed that, and he believed when he looked at the under 20, 21, and he looked at the team, is so much different, the intensity when he came. So that is where he believed, and he strongly, even you can see Indonesia got a lot of neutralized player, experienced neutralized player, but he doesn't bother because he knows, this is not a long term for Indonesia football. He wants to be long in Indonesia, which he has a long contract too. So I think he is the main thing that for me, Indonesia football is growing. I believe a lot of young players, and now you can see a lot of clubs are taking young players too, and a lot of young players who have a quality because they are the one who are eager to prove something. They are the one that wants to shine. To help their parents because they are not wealthy people in the country. So this is a good sign. It's a good sign for Indonesian football, and I believe, if the coach, another 1-2 years, they are really Thailand level, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, and they have an Asian Cup to look forward to as well, which is massive. Will be massive for football in the country, Raushan.
Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely love the fact that coach makes about that hunger, that desire, as well as the coach's philosophy to bring it in. Coach Aidil, let's bring it back to you. When we spoke to you about 1 year ago on the episode titled Flying the Flag, you were at Kedah, you were flying the Singapore flag high, but you did mention harboring some hopes of coming back to Singapore. Being away from home might be difficult. So when you left Kedah, did any opportunity at all arise to come back to Singapore?
Honestly, yes. When I came back, I think, honestly, Lion City Seller also did communicate with me. Then also Young Lions also, they called me for interview and also talk about the Young Lions team, how different they are next season. So unfortunately, I think, it doesn't work out. I think this is football. For me, it doesn't matter who is getting the job because these are all our friends and our colleagues. So I'm professional because I always believe, there's always another door to offer you when you are honest in work and you are sincere. So so that's where I learn in Indonesia.
Yeah. You mentioned the two sides, the two Lions, essentially. One Lions, one the Lion City Sailors, and we'll get to Lion City Sailors a little bit later on. But from my understanding, from what I knew about the situation, or what I'd heard about the situation, I'm an outsider, right? What I'd heard about the situation is you were involved in a few interviews, and then it didn't happen, as you said. You move on. It's a professional level. That's what it is. But what I wanted to ask you is, because I'm quite fascinated with the number of interviews it takes. What do these interviews involve? So first interview, what do you talk about? Second interview, what do you talk about? And then, what can you tell us without getting yourself into trouble?
Yeah, of course. Because like I say, I always respect everyone. Yeah. So I think, I apologize first if any words mistake I make, but I just share with you whatever that it comes. First, of course, Mr. Yazin, who called me up for a chat, for interview, and speak about what's the changes of Young Lions next season. Yeah. So after one round with Mr. Yazin, then the TD, the technical director of FAS, called me up for coffee and also talk about the job. Yeah, what can they asked me what can I contribute. I think it's normal. I think it's normal for anyone who to approach a coach to ask. And the last, I think, in the Zoom meeting, I think maybe they're busy. So in the Zoom meeting, so the four of the office management, Mr. Yazim, Mr. Brown, I think the Vice President, Mr. Edwin, and Mr. Razali Sahad was there. So yeah, I mean, the question a lot, they ask me what do I do in Kedah. Maybe it's totally different from Young Lion because I'm more to manage a team who are fighting for title. Yeah, so maybe that's the difference. Young Lion. So yeah, after that, I mean, it's okay because they get a good coach who can really groom young players. I think that's important for FS, and like I told them, I wish them well because we want to see the football growth. That's the most important now.
That's fascinating, Rosh. Excellent question. And Coach, I think you handled it well to give us so much insight into the process. Thank you for that. I want to move it on, but very quickly, I want to ask you, we know you harbor hopes of managing Singapore one day, right? So when you got that rejection from the Young Lions, yes, you are professional, you moved on to other things, other doors will open. But were you hurt as a Singaporean? Did you almost feel like, this was a chance to manage the Young Lions, which is the national setup team?
I mean, honestly, Rush, when the offer came, I was expecting for a national team call out. I don't expect for the Young Lion, honestly, because I knew what is Young Lions every season like. Yeah, there's a lot of young players, a lot of not easy to manage NS and schoolboys. We knew, and let's not forget, my brother also used to coach there.
Yeah.
Right. So we knew it's not going to be easy, and I did also tell myself, is it going to be difficult with, if I took the team and my CV is not going to be stronger because you don't win a lot of games. I mean, not to disrespect Young Lions, but I mean, we have to be realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I always, even in the meeting, I told the vice president, you are not going to expect a lot of key players every game because NS school issue. So what can we do? And we cannot expect result. We cannot expect good football when last minute, when last few coaches been facing it. I knew how Nazri faced it. I knew how ID faced it. I knew how Jagan last time faced it. So we knew. I think all the coaches knew. So, but honestly, like I say, I mean, I am blessed. Didn't get Young Lion job. I'm just hoping one day, to contribute Singapore football national team. That's my main target.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to jump on that because you said when the call was made to you, you were thinking this is going to be for the national team, for the senior national team. So do you think that you're ready now to take charge of the Singapore national team? Do you think you have enough experience and you back yourself to, if the call did come, maybe next few months or so, you would absolutely say yes to the opportunity? You would be very ready for the job.
I mean, ready is one thing, Rush. But the point is that you have to believe the local coaches. Yeah, you have to believe the local coaches, and you have to give the local coaches a chance to. Yeah, last we have Coach Fandi and Coach Sundram. Then after that we keep on taking foreigners, and then after that we keep on changing, change. But the set of the players is still the same. Isn't it? So what's the difference you give to a local coach? Yeah, and I think the local coach understand more the players. Yeah, and in the league they understand more. So if you bring a coach who doesn't study the league, doesn't know the culture, I mean, I'm not against the foreign coach because I'm foreign coach too here. Yeah, but I prefer a foreign coach who have in the league for at least 5 to 6 years, who knows the culture, who knows the players, who knows the management of the club. So it's easy for them to communicate and to understand each other. Yeah, but now the thing is that we took a foreign coach who doesn't know the league, who don't understand the culture, and what do you expect from me? I mean, I don't blame him. He's trying his best in the AFF. It's just that unfortunately he doesn't get the result, you know. But if you ask me, you know, there is a better local coaches out there who can do the same job, or even in fact better job than current now.
Coach, we do want to ask you about Lion City Sailors and the Young Lions in a short while, but I want to stick to the national team just very quickly. You talked about it there, the coach, and having watched the AFF Mitsubishi Cup, we all did. Yes, you said you don't blame the coach for what happened, but what do you make about overall Singapore's performance in the tournament as a whole? Any bright sparks?
If you look honestly, you know, in the first few games, the team rise up, yeah. But after we did a good job against Vietnam, you know, the hunger of the players, I don't see against Malaysia. It's supposed to be, you did well against Vietnam. It's supposed to be more after that because you are playing against the rival team the next game.
Yeah.
The motivation is supposed to be there, and I don't see the motivation, the hunger against Malaysia, and I mean I'm very, very sad, you know, to see the result and also the way we play. But you know we can't blame anyone. Right, so it's just that the last game, you know, makes the tournament look bad for all the games because everyone will look at the last game, the last result. They don't care about the first game. You win 10-0 or 9-0, but end of the day is the last game you lose to a rival team, and they will trash you. And I think the fans still nice in Singapore, honestly. Yeah, if you are in Indonesia, wow! I'm telling you, you know, you are not only sleepless night. You don't dare to go home. So, like I say, Singapore fans are still nice and acceptable. You know, even though they're angry with the loss, but it's only 1 day, 2 days. Yeah, but if you look at other countries, those are fanatic, like our neighbors here, Malaysia, Indonesia, they would keep on telling you to leave. Yeah, and they will hunt you. Every social media of your personal social media, they will hunt you. Yeah.
Coach, you mentioned that motivation levels seem to be lacking, stuff like that. Earlier in the conversation, you had mentioned about younger players, Indonesia refreshing it by bringing in younger players into the squad. Is that what you think the national team needs, an injection of new energy?
I'm sorry to say this. I mean, if you look at the squad, you know, it still remain 3-4 last coaches the same squad, majority 90%, right? 90%. So, do we ask? Do we have the young talents that coming up like 14, 16, 18?
Yeah.
Do we have a good identify coaches to put a data to recommend to the FA? This is the place that we have to look for. We have to be careful, and we try to send them abroad. And these are the future players. I mean, do we have that? I mean, and second, do we have good young coaches? I mean, the youth coaches, not age. The youth coaches. Do we have? What I saw now, you know, the youth coaches, they are doing 2-3 jobs. How can they focus? How can they focus to develop, you know, a strong team or a good team, you know, for the youth tournament or for the youth team?
Yeah.
You know, if you look at our neighbors, they are really serious now. You know, I just spoke to Indonesia Federation. You know, Kurniawan, he bring one batch of team to Italy for 1 year.
Wow.
To get experience.
Wow.
And they are under 16, three of them recently going to send to Belgium for 6 months.
Yeah.
That's how they grow and become better. And when they are in the national team, they are not new in professional.
Yeah.
Right. And I think Roshan will know understand, like those days, our time, we have like Nazri Nasir, Aidil Sharin, Liman Horn. They went to Czech Republic for 3 months, 6 months. That's where they become better when they are young to attach with a professional club there. Yeah, even I remember myself go to Holland for 1 month. So this is where we don't see now. Yeah, and you cannot expect the 20 years old from Young Lions straight away to grow when they don't have good step, good development when they are 15, 16, 17.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it, right? That's exactly it. Because, it's all well and good saying the national team needs to refresh, we need to put younger players in and things like that. But people forget, where's the pipeline? Where's the talent coming through? You can't just, it's the national team, you can't just throw young players in there who are not ready to go and play and say, go and play. So it's actually, to me, where it looks like it's a production line system. You're not producing the right kind of players who can step up, and then you regenerate the squad. And that's how it naturally occurs. So, it's a massive thing that you actually have to sort of look at a real big picture situation with Singapore football, Aidil. And I think you hit the nail right on the head with your comments there.
I mean, I believe Roshan, when you play also, you already step into the first team when you are 18. Nowadays, you don't see 17, 18 years old stepping into the first team. Maximum maybe one, but those days we have many who are knocking the door and learning from the experienced players, pushing the experienced players to be there. So why? Because I think we have good development before. This is where we tend to forget now. We just focus to just national team and Young Lions.
Coach, we talk about the pipeline. The Young Lions are making some changes. Hopefully, they will have an effect on the pipeline, right? They're bringing in 2 Japanese boys next year for the team. What do you make of that? Is that a step in the right direction then, bringing in foreigners?
I mean, they are good players, but I still believe that we have to bring below 20 years old players who are like Song, example. If you take a younger foreigners, you can access them long, you see. But now you take 22, 23, by the time they get passport, 27 years old, and you never know. They get good offer, they leave.
Yeah.
And secondly, with a lot of artificial pitch they play, they're going to have a lot of injuries. You never know how long they can last. So, I mean, there's no wrong, but I believe it could be better if we take these players when they are 17, 18 years old and they can adapt at least 1-2 years. Then after that, we can assess. We can monitor their data, how minutes they play, how's their performance. So this is the thing that I believe what good countries they do.
Raushan, do you have anything else about national team and Young Lions and all that? Because I really just want to ask eventually about the Lion City Sailors, because I want to know what happened as well.
I think my national team questions are done, but I have to follow up on one thing Coach mentioned there, the artificial pitch. It's in the news a lot. Various coaches at the Mitsubishi Electric Cup spoke about it. As a Singaporean, I was heartbroken when 2 of our brightest stars were injured on the artificial pitch. Coach, what are your thoughts on the fact that the Jalan Besar Stadium, which is Singapore's premier footballing venue, is artificial pitch, and what effect does that have for football as a whole?
A lot. If you ask me, if you ask any players, Roshan is ex-players, I mean, we have to be honest, artificial pitch is not good for our long-term, our muscle, our joints. And I think it's proven. It's proven that, we have to look at the data, how many players have been doing operation ACL in artificial pitch. Ankle injuries. So this is the data that doesn't lie. you know, and he has to collect it and prove it so that we have to avoid, you know, from playing. And it's sad to see our good young star, you know, Ilhan, who just wants to go abroad to get offer, and after that get an injury playing in this kind of pitch. Yeah, so this is the thing that unless you talk about we don't have good pitch outside there, okay, we can admit it because you have to use what you have. But now we have good pitch like Bishan, Choa Chu Kang, National Stadium. Yeah, now what I heard, the Kallang new pitch they're coming up, even Geylang, we have good pitch. So I don't know, you know, maybe they have reason, you know, why they want to play an artificial pitch.
I think this is again goes back to down to the bigger picture things where you look through the pipeline and there are lots of issues with this in terms of training grounds and in terms of if you have a natural grass pitch, then you need to have proper maintenance. You need to probably put the money into getting those proper grass pitches and training people to properly maintain it. And we have seen through the years, I mean, Aidil, even when we played on natural grass, a lot of it wasn't very good. You know, Toa Payoh Stadium is one example. And I always talk about Hougang Stadium back when I was playing. Natural grass surface, beautiful, nice and flat. But that's only because the groundsman there was an absolute professional, a true gentleman, class act. He actually took pride in his work. And that's an outlier. You know, these things are few and far between. These kind of people are few and far between. So again, I don't think it's a very simple, straightforward answer. There's a lot of things that get involved into it. And you ask, and I completely agree, you ask any player, they would love to play on a natural surface, but a good quality natural playing surface.
Yes, because I think this is where we look back again. It's not only about just focusing on the football team. You know, sometimes the driver play a big part. You know, because if the team come late, it's going to be difficult for the team to prepare well. Right? So now we talk about groundsmen. So why JDT have a Japanese or European people who really serious to take care of the field? It's because they want to play good football. They want to show to public that they have a good pitch. And so this is where we can learn from our neighbor. It's very important for me because if you have a good pitch, you know, you're going to have good football. It's simple as that. Because same like our car. If we don't service our car well, we are not going to drive smoothly on the road. That's simple as that.
100%. All right, Rosh. No more questions. National team. No more questions about pitch. You can ask about the Lion City Sailors.
I mean, a lot of this takes a lot of money. There's not a lot of funding that needs to come into it. And funding is a good way to lead into the Lion City Sailors now because they're a club where the project, you know, the overall, the ownership and all that, we know it's been reported. They've had a few issues in terms of the financial situation with the SEA group. And they have sort of revamped certain things in terms of the direction, the strategy that they're now pursuing in terms of bringing younger players through, letting go some of the older experienced players who are maybe on higher wages, higher salaries. And Aidil, when they were looking for a new coach, I thought that you would be a name in the frame, in the running for that job. Was there an interest on their end?
Yes. I mean, honestly, I spoke to the sporting director, Badri. And they spoke that 3 candidates are on the list and me one of them. So honestly, I'm hoping to come back because to reunite with my family after a few years COVID in overseas. So, but it doesn't make it. And like I say, it's still fine for me because I always respect everyone's decision and they have their own reason why they choose this coach or that coach. So I know my mindset is always have to be positive and be professional. So it's fine for me. We never know. Maybe one day we will come back again.
It's fascinating to know that.
Carry on, Roshan.
No, it's just, for me, it's just fascinating to know that sometimes what seems on paper to be the perfect match. Because of other reasons, it doesn't happen. But to hear Coach Aidil still remain so positive and upbeat and open to any future opportunities, it's inspiring for me. Rosh, you were saying?
No, I was just going to say this interview has been so wide-ranging and has really gone on a lot longer than we thought it was going to go. But that's a credit to that's a credit to Aidil. I mean, thank you so much for all the insight that you've given us. Raushan, I don't want to end this though prematurely. Do you have anything else you would like to ask, or do you think we should call it a day?
No, I just want to thank the rain in where Coach Aidil is, because if not, he'll be afternoon training, right? So there was no afternoon training. He managed to make time for us. Coach, I have a final question. We've talked various length about various teams in the SPL. The season is about to start. And one team that personally caught my eye is Hougang United. They've made some bold moves. They brought in a young coach who's already proven himself by winning the cup with the team. What are your thoughts on Hougang United heading into the new season?
I think, they will do well. Yeah. I think Coach Fidos is a very passionate coach too. He's very eager, but he has to be patient in managing the star players there, because it's not easy when you are a rookie coach. You come in and manage star players or seasoned players, but I believe he can do it. It's just that he needs to be patient and to understand more. And I think Hougang, with the squad they have now, they're quite complete. They can fight with Lion City, Tampines and Brunei, DPMM. So I think, it's a good positive to see Hougang are very serious and going up, year by year.
Aidil, just last two questions, I promise, and then we'll let you go. Let you go back to the was it Pechat Lele, is it? What's it called? Pechat Lele. Pechat Lele. Okay, just last two questions. Since you mentioned SPL, right, Singapore Premier League, the season about to start, you mentioned some of those teams there. Do you have any favorites? How do you think the season is going to go?
I still think that Tampines gonna do well. I think Coach Gavin has a plan, bringing players like Faris, still maintain the top striker Kopi, who understand the football well. He's not a great dribbler, but he's a finisher inside the box, and he's proven that he scored many goals. And also retain Yase, who control the dressing room well. And a lot of young potential players that Coach Kevin bring in. Very interesting, and wish to see Tampines much better than last season.
Yeah, that's an interesting shout. Gavin's certainly a very good young coach who's gained all that experience.
Yes.
What about you? You mentioned plans, Aidil. What about your own plans going forward? That's our last question.
My plans, now I have an agent who have in Indonesia, in Malaysia. So some clubs also are telling me in Malaysia to be ready to come back to Malaysia in the mid-season. And in this our neighbor country, whenever the team lost 3 games, 5 games, there's always changes. This is normal in football. Only Singapore is very lucky. You lose 10 games, you're still there.
Ooh.
So I think this is the thing that I just wait for the opportunity, and the most important for me, I have to do well every game. I have to do well, and with a good result, there's always a door for you to go out there.
Rosh, we've done this 65 times. This is episode number 65. But this episode has been special because, Coach, if I have the chance, I'll talk to you for another half hour, 1 hour. But Coach,
yes.
We are absolutely grateful for your time. We wish you all the best. The first episode we had with you was flying the flag. Continue flying the flag for Singapore. Listeners, put in your words of encouragement below for Coach Aidil. Aidil, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you on the next episode.